All right, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday 10X, every Tuesday 9 o'clock. For over a decade, I am interviewing badass people. Today, it's going to be more of a mastermind style conversation. Todd Bookspan is really going to be the head facilitator of this conversation, the CEO and founder of Win by Noon, truly one of the most successful mortgage professionals in history, has run a team that's done over 500 loans a year for many years. Jeremy is the special guest. He almost needs no introduction, but I'm going to do one anyways. Jeremy, perennial $100 million producer. So the guy knows how to personally produce. Branch manager, regional leader, for over a decade was a coach. So he's mentored hundreds of loan officers in strategic planning. And I think by this time, everybody has heard that term, strategic planning. Think of this as like a podcast around strategic planning, like what should you do? What is the checklist? I'm going to leave it to Jeremy and Todd to drill down in more detail on that. Todd, you want to take it away from here? I'm going to go jump on something else, let you guys roll for half the call and come back, jump in about 30-ish minutes.
Well, we can't wait till you're back, Dave. You'll always keep us going down the right track. And you know what? I'm super pumped for this conversation. I mean, one of the things that I believe really helped me have success early on was really getting clear about how to strategically plan for the coming year, for the future and beyond. And I had great coaches along the way who helped me get there. But ultimately, you have to end up, taking action and in doing the things. And so anytime Dave says, "Hey, do you want to come on and help lead a conversation with Jeremy Forcier?" I'm like, not just, "Oh, yes." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do this." Because in the end, you all know it, right? If there's a person that we all look up into this industry today who continues to have success and does a really good job helping us frame it, it's you, Jeremy. So super stoked. Let's get started.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. That's awesome. Well, the first things first, Todd, like when it comes to strategic planning, I think what's really important to do always is like you have to really take an audit of where you are at right now, right? So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples and I'm going to share some things with you that you might be like, "Oh my God, like is that true? Oh, he experiences that as well." And the reality is that I did an audit, just 2 weeks ago of year to date fallout. And I have to tell you, I hate doing this because I hate looking at like what did not accomplish. And I'm specifically talking about loans for this purpose of planning. But I went back because I get lots of comments from my loan officers that are like, "Hey, it seems like you never lose a deal. Like how are you doing it?" And the reality is I lose deals just like everyone else all the time. I just like to focus on the wins, not the losses, right? That keeps me moving forward. But it is good every year to really do a deep dive in an audit and reflect on what exactly took place this year. So I'm going to give you guys some stats here that like are painful, but it's okay and it's important to know. So one stat I have here is that I have lost over $37 million in transactions this year. Okay, so I'm going to say it again. I have lost over $37 million in transactions this year. Now, those were cancellations or diverted transactions. Someone couldn't sell their house, inspections went, well, I had lots of fallout this year with people going in. I had 4 last week, cancel escrow. Like people, things that I can't control, right? But over $37 million in canceled or diverted transactions. And it's a reminder that losses are literally inevitable, but they don't define like your performance and your actions. Now, on top of that, I lost $11 million of let's call them shoppers, like we always call them. Didn't use me, right? Didn't use me, decided to use someone else. So Todd, when you do that math, you're like, okay, 37 plus 11 is $48 million, about 400 to 600 grand, depending on what your comp is in compensation. And that would crush most people, right? They would literally be like, "Oh my God, I suck. I'm the worst." And it's not true. It's just that we're not paying attention to like the wins and the L's. And I went through and looked at every single one of those and go, why did I lose them? Well, 32 million of it, of the 40 plus total, there was zero that I could have done about it. right? Zero. That's an anomaly this year in the market. That's not normal for me to have that many cancellations, that many contingent sales not work out, that many, hey, I don't like 6.9% interest rate, so my dad's going to pay cash and let me pay him 4%. Okay, like those are real things, right, that take place and happen. But if we don't take the time to reflect when we're doing strategic planning, commitment planning, and notice that I'm saying strategic planning, commitment planning, I'm not saying goal setting, because I am tired of goals. No one accomplishes them, no one does them, and it's just a fantasy, okay, for the most part. And I'm saying that to be polarizing, of course, but it's like we're focused on the wrong thing when we say goals, right? What we really need to focus on is commitments, and you have to take a big audit first of where did you lose deals, what didn't work out. The second thing that I audit, Todd, a couple weeks ago was my referral sources. Where did all my deals come from year to date? So I've closed, at the time of doing this, I closed $89 million in personal production, right? And I lost 40 million, like because of something. So think about that. It's 120 million year to date, a couple weeks ago. And there wasn't really too much I could have done about it. But then I look at where did all the deals that I did close come from and where did the deals that I not close come from? There wasn't anything shocking in that. I will tell you though that 50%, 48%, okay, came from my past clients, my closed transactions, came from my past clients. Okay, another 30%, so that's making up 78 now, came from realtors that I was already in a relationship with. Okay, so now we're at 78%. Then I had another 15%, okay, come from new relationships, new realtor partners, new relationships that I had never worked with, like in that year. I've never worked with them before, right? And then the other, however much is left over, that's what, 78 plus 15. So whatever, the other like 9-ish% or whatever it is, okay, 16%, I'm not that great at math on the fly, came from random. It was just like business partner, financial planner, like whatever it may be. Now, when you really take a look at that, it's shocking to me that 50% came from my past clients. They were my saving grace because the biggest fallout section I had, guess where they came from? My realtor referrals, my realtor partners, the ones that couldn't sell the house, that had the inspection issue, et cetera, et cetera. Now, 15% of my business was from brand new relationships. That made me realize, Todd, that I'm going to push hard on new relationships next year. Like I need to push really hard on new relationships because 15% came from people that I've never worked with before. That's a big number when you really take a look at it. So when I talk about strategic planning moving forward, the first thing you have to do is audit. Just audit your year. And it's not to be depressed about it. It's to know where you actually stand so that you don't do this. You know what? Next year, I made 100 grand this year. My goal is 500 grand next year. You don't fall into that trap of like, cool, so how are you going to do it? I'm going to call more people. No, that doesn't work. Like, who are you going to call specifically? What worked this last year? Double down on that. And then what are you going to focus on in growth next year? So I think that auditing your life, not just your business, is really, really important. And this works with any type of goals. Like, Todd, let me ask you a question. You've been a coach for a really long time, okay, at a very, very high level. How many times have you had someone that you're mentoring, coaching, et cetera, who says that they want to lose weight this year?
Oh gosh, hundreds of times.
Every time, right? Everyone says, I want to lose weight. And then the next year, what's their same goal?
Lose weight.
I want to lose weight. And then the next year, they have the same goal every year and they don't ever hit it. And the reason that is because of the commitments and falling in love with the small actions and the small commitments, rather than always focusing on the big goal, the destination. We have to fall in love with the process. We have to fall in love with the micro actions, the micro commitments, because if we fall in love with the commitments, and that's why I love the word so much, committing to doing something daily, weekly, monthly, annually, which is how I break them up, then it's easier just to execute because it's just a yes or a no in the commitment daily, weekly, monthly, annually, rather than focusing on a big number that's usually just a fantasy. So that's what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks, is really just auditing everything. And what's really interesting is I got super focused on my commitments in the last, I don't know, 3 months from a production standpoint. And it's kind of ironic that I'm carrying a $37 million live pipeline right now because I got crazy hyper-focused on what actions do I need to do? How do I finish the year really strong? How do I make sure I do 100 million no matter what? Because I'm committed to it. And then it works out, but it wasn't because of the big goal. It was because of the little actions that I had to focus on.
Yeah, I don't find that ironic at all, though, right? I mean, once you focus on those actions, then the results tend to follow.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So I saw someone ask in the chat, just saw it pop up real quick. And I'm so glad that you asked because I was hoping someone would ask, like, what are some of your micro commitments, right? Micro commitments that you create. So remember, these are just mine. This is just an example. So they're right here on this little card that sits in front of me every single day. Okay. I can send a picture of this. You guys should all create your own. It says My Prize Fighter Day. Okay. Which I learned through a coach. And all it does is list these like really simple things. Obsessed with impact. That's just a mental commitment that I have. I have to be obsessed with impact. Every conversation, every single time I'm looking, how can I make a positive impact, right? Number one micro commitment for me is a gratitude journal every single morning. 3 things I'm grateful for, right? Every single morning. And you can be grateful for the bad shit, you guys. Like, that's okay. Like, be grateful for it so you can learn from it, right? The next one is an unrequired text. So I send an unrequired text to someone who's on my mind, I'm thinking about, haven't talked to in a while, whatever it may be, just to do it. It's not required that I do it. They're not waiting for anything from me. It's just like a, hey, Todd, I really appreciate you. Like, you're awesome. You were on my mind this morning. I hope you're doing great. If there's anything I can do to serve you, please let me know. Pretty simple, right? Just an unrequired text message. Connect with 10 partners every single day. That's another one of mine. Connect with 10 partners every single day. Now, notice that it doesn't say call and talk to 10 partners every single day. It doesn't say, must ask for a referral from 10 partners every single day. These are super micro commitments that I do no matter what. No matter what. How can I accomplish it? The next one is connect with 10 leads, no matter how old the lead is, every single day. Connect with 10 leads. Call them, text them, email them, send them a video. Connect with 10 loan officers. That's easy for me because I work with a lot of loan officers, right? So making sure that I'm connecting with 10 loan officers, that could be in a group environment, it could be one-on-one, right? Inside my organization. Write a love note to Kara, that's my wife, right? So that could be a text or it could be a handwritten note, just letting her know, hey, I love you. I hope you have a great day. I text her this morning. I left my backpack. I had to work, by the way, I had to work from outside from 6:30 a.m. until 8 a.m. this morning because I forgot my keys at my house. I left super early this morning and I forgot my keys to my office in my backpack at the house, but I didn't complain. I just worked from the parking lot, like from my phone. But I text her, hey, I love you so much. Hey, by any chance, will you be coming to Petaluma today? Like, could you drop off my backpack? I love you. Thank you. That's an example, right? Work out, move my body every single day is another micro commitment that I have. Drink 100 ounces of water. That's a micro commitment that I have every single day, right? One random act of kindness. That's a micro commitment that I have every single day, right? Have uncomfortable honesty once a day. I hate that one, by the way. Like, it sucks, but I have to have some uncomfortable honesty every single day and say no to one thing every day. So this is just an example of micro commitments, right? Micro actions that you can take every single day that will always move you towards your quote unquote bigger goals. And rather than bigger goals, I want you guys to think about when you're strategically planning, who do you want to become? What actions does it take to be the person and run the business that you want to become, that you want to happen? That's a much easier way to figure out what the actions need to be because success leaves clues. And if you want to be a certain type of person, then I would study the success of the people that are like that. And I would literally do the things that they do. So I did that for a really, really long time. And it worked really, really well for me. So you have to, that's an example to whoever said that, right? Can I show my card one more time, please? You guys can get a picture of this, no problem. Okay. I actually have a whole exercise like that, you can dial this in, but this is what the picture looks like. Okay. Super, super, super simple. So that's an example, you guys, of like some micro actions. Does that make sense to you, Todd?
You know, it does. I mean, ultimately, you said you're going to start by winning the day, then you're going to win the week, then you're going to win the month, then you're going to win the quarter,
Yeah.
then you're going to win the year. And so it just starts with today. And I think when we think of something, here we are in November of 2025, and if we're trying to think about what that goal is for the end of 2026, that can seem really overwhelming. But if you've got a card with commitments for today, because guess what? If you connect with the realtors that you're going to connect with and the clients you're going to connect with, it's probably going to drive your business forward. And you also did some other things that make you a better human. You did some things that make you healthier, right? Drinking water, moving, exercising, that's going to keep your mental focus there. And so it's
Yeah.
just more than the business activities. You're also looking at life.
Yeah. Well, because I don't believe in compartmentalizing business and life. Like, I just really don't. I find the people that crush it the hardest, it's full integration. It's just like everything, like me being a better person and more generous also makes me more generous and nicer with clients and with realtors. Like it works together. So not focusing on compartmentalizing everything, but focusing on integration and having themes. And, when I wrote a little outline of like personal commitment code, it's the reality is that we never, ever, ever like rise to our goals. I totally believe that with 100%. We do not rise to our goals. We only fall to our commitments, to the level of our commitments. That's it. Like, so we're never, ever, ever, we don't rise to our goals. We fall to our commitments like every single time. So you ask yourself like some simple questions about how was my year? I'll give you another example for loans specifically. I do a total cost analysis every single day I work, no matter what. No matter what. Even if I don't have a new quote that I need to do for someone, I do one every single day, no matter what, with a video. Well, why would you do that, Jeremy, if you don't have anyone to send it to? Well, you're going to send it to someone. So like I make one. So I'll give you a few examples of things that I do. Number one, old leads. I said in my commitments that I need to connect with 10 leads a day. Okay, so if I don't have a new contract or a new refi to price out and to make an option video, I literally just make one for an old lead and I send it to them. That's an example of how you can leverage the connection, leverage the technology, show that you're a pro. It just takes 5 minutes to create one. So no matter what, I make a TCA every single day. No matter what, that's something that all of us can do. That's something that a micro action that every
Well,
single one of us can do.
and I've seen you, Jeremy. It doesn't take you 5 minutes to create one because you've created so many, right? And so
Yeah.
some people are already thinking, well, it takes me, 8 minutes or 12 minutes. And it's when you make it a habit and you choose to get good at it, you can just crank them out.
Okay, so here, well, let me ask everyone a question. Let's just say it took you 20 minutes, okay? Let's just play devil's advocate. It takes whoever's on here 20 minutes to create a total cost analysis. Everyone who's on here, I want you guys to post in the chat. What is your average gross commission per loan? Just put a dollar number. Doesn't matter what it is. Cool. So we got 4,500, 6,500, 10K. Good Lord. 8 grand. You guys are overpaid. I love it. 7,000. You guys are all higher than me. Damn it. 5,000.
50 bucks.
Awesome. 3,500. Okay. I need to come work for some of you guys. Holy cow. 3,300. Awesome. 3,500. But you guys get the point here. These are thousands of dollars. So let me ask you this. If it takes you 20 minutes and it's frustrating to do, if it took you 30 minutes and it was frustrating to do, if it took you an hour to make one and it was frustrating to do, and you make potentially from sending that out 3,500, 4,500, 5,500, 6,500, $7,500, is that worth your frustration during that time? The answer is yes. So we have to reframe things and put them into perspective of what our time is worth, and we get so confused. And I would love to know why you think people are confused about this on like, where do I spend my time? And I'm not going to do that, but they do things that don't make them $1,800, that don't make them 35. Why do you think that happens, Todd?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is people don't have clarity on what it is to do. You've got clarity because you not only thought through it, you actually wrote it down, and then you take action, and then now you're learning from it. You're doing that audit. I feel like a lot of people just don't spend time to look at yesterday and say, well, what did I do great yesterday, and where do I have room for improvement, and take that positively in today versus beating ourselves up over the things that we wish we would have done differently.
Here, so you are correct. I will tell you here is my belief. that I know to be true. The real reason why we don't is because we're too emotional. We focus on how it feels to not be good at putting the thing together. We focus on the emotional part, right? Which is the same reason why goals don't work, in my opinion. Because usually when we're making them in an emotional state. Like, oh, we don't have anything to anchor the emotion, right? So we make fantasies, and they're called fantasies for a reason, right? Fantasies aren't real. If you look up the definition, like what is a fantasy? I don't really know what the real definition is, but I'm assuming that if you looked it up, it would say something that's not real, like, like euphoric dream, like stuff like that. And the reason why we don't do the things that we have to do and that we should do is because they're emotional. Goals feel good in the moment, right? But the execution feels hard later. So goals feel really good in the moment when we make them. And you guys, I'm not totally poo-pooing goals. I love goals, for the record. I'm being polarizing for a reason because we're focused on the wrong portion of the goals. Okay. So goals are made in high emotional states always, right? And people fall in love with the fantasy, not the work. I want everyone to fall in love with the work and not the fantasy. I want the
All right. So
opposite.
how do you do that, Jeremy? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Because I think people are saying, well, that's great that Jeremy loves doing a TCA. I don't. Jeremy loves calling an old lead and getting beat up. I don't. Jeremy loves calling a new realtor who might say
I
no, and I
don't.
don't.
I don't love any of it. So because once again, what did Todd just say? Loves getting beat up. See, even Todd said the emotional thing. I'm trying to remove as much emotion as humanly possible, okay, from the action. I'm just focused on the action. And so the emotion that I want to feel is that I won because I did all the actions on my list. That makes me feel good, right? So it's reframing. It's all brainwashing, you guys. Okay. It's me brainwashing myself. So I'll do the things that I don't want to do. You guys think I love to make TCAs? No, it's effective as hell. That's why I make TCAs. Like I don't, you think I love like calling the old lead who hasn't called me back in 3 months? No, but I love the opportunity that it brings me knowing that I could potentially make $5,000 if that person says yes. So you have to tie like action to like moving forward in your business. So here's what I do, okay? And it looks like a bunch of people are blowing up questions, which is great, but goals are really too distant, okay? So I'm going to break this down a little bit for you. Goals are too far away. When goals are too far away, it creates overwhelm. So Todd kind of mentioned this earlier. He didn't say it exactly like that, but when something's really far out, I suffer from this. This is normal. Anyone. Like I'm building a new company, right? Like it's sometimes it's like, what the hell? It's like so far away of like putting all the pieces together and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but those are emotions talking to me, right? It seems way, way, way too far away. So you have to make things get closer, not so distant, right? So it looks easy when we're daydreaming, but we have to remember that whatever we think we want, and I just find comfort in this, Todd, it's going to be 10 times harder than you think, okay, to do it. But that's good. That shouldn't crush you, because if I accept that, hey, this is going to be way harder than I think, that's my expectation, actually. Like I know it's going to be hard now. So you have to want things to be hard. Okay. When things are easy, it's usually a flash in the pan. Okay. When things are hard, you're building something great. So reframing your mind is really important on this. So another reason why I feel that like goals don't work is that, so I've shared with you goals are emotional. I think that's why they don't work. I've shared with you that goals are too distant. They're too far away. It can create overwhelm. The third one that I have documented is that goals don't come with an instruction manual. Okay. And that's the problem. The actions are the instruction manual, right? So when we just make goals, they don't come with an instruction manual. There's no roadmap, no daily guidance, and no accountability structure, right? And the fourth one, and this is just like a personal anecdote, is that big goals you didn't hit. So I talked about weight loss. There was plenty of times over the last 15 years where I was like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. And I would, and then in 2 months, I was 20 pounds heavier again. Like I would do it and I would go back. So I was losing the same 20 pounds over and over and over and over again. Well, like this year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit to doing a 35 to 45 pound rucksack, weighted backpack walk every single day, no matter what. Commit to it no matter what. And I'm just going to eat like protein shakes all day and then have a nice dinner of whatever I want. That was it. Those were commitments to actions. Well, guess what? I've kept the freaking stupid 30 pounds off all year, right? That I lost last year. And I was like, I am not going back this year. I'm committing to actions. I'm not going to commit to a number. I'm not going to commit to X. I'm committing to actions. So you can do the same thing in your business as well. It's all the same. But the reality is that, you know, they failed because I didn't have any commitment to daily process. My business doesn't work when I don't follow the commitments to the daily process. And we just have to make a really, really simple, easy list. And commitments outperform goals every time because they create identity. Okay. Like they reduce emotion. It's just action. They reduce emotion. Commitments eliminate negotiation, by the way. Can you negotiate with a commitment? No. You can't. You can't negotiate with a commitment. So that, you know, I'm giving you guys just a whole bunch of examples of like why it works. So commitments eliminate negotiation. Also, commitments guarantee one thing. What do you think it is, Todd?
That is a great question. I mean, for me, if it creates action, right? I'm going to actually guarantee that I'm
So
going to
what does
actually take
action
action.
over and over and over again create?
Consistency,
Good.
momentum.
What is excellent? All those things were right. It creates momentum.
Man, I'm so glad I got that. You know, I feel like I got to be on my best. I got to make sure I'm answering these questions and getting that, helping you guys connect the dots, right? Because I
No,
mean, we're
but you
getting a
did. What
masterclass.
you said in order actually what it does, right? You actually broke it down to even micro, right? But it does. But ultimately, it creates action, which creates consistency. Consistency of action creates momentum, right?
And momentum is really hard because, you know, someone said they lost their ability to set long-term goals in 2020. Like I think there's a lot of people in the industry who still feel beat down from a long time ago. And I think it's that emotion you were talking about. We're living a lot in the past of this past 2.5 years or 3 years plus now that's been really, really hard. And so I like the idea that you've got a card that tells you what you have to do today in order to move forward in a positive way, not just for you, but for helping other people. I saw an Andrew
Yep.
Huberman little clip, and he talked about that actually gratitude is actually has the highest impact on a person when it's actually received, not given, which I was
Yes.
really surprised by. Like I love giving gratitude, but I never thought about the fact because I'm not counting on receiving it on a daily basis. But he said if you actually receive gratitude from others, that moves you forward. And so I really love where this conversation has gone.
So here's what's so cool what Todd just said right now. How hard is it for all of us to reach out to a client, a partner, a team member, a day? 3 people, a day, and let them know how much we appreciate them and how grateful we are for them. To give that to someone else, that gift, right? That's what my unrequired text message is. That's it. It's reaching out to someone and telling them that what I'm grateful for, like for them. It's so simple, like for us to do, to give that to someone else. What's cool is the ripple effect it creates as well. Okay. I'm not expecting, and this is an effed up thing that I see a lot of people do, by the way, they get it wrong. And it's okay because we're all flawed. I'm super flawed. Okay. Don't worry. Like, but what I see in teaching this to a lot of the people that work for me, they do it with the expectation that someone is going to give it back right now, the way that they want, that they deserve something back. That's not what giving gratitude is. It's giving that gift to someone else. Now, you can give yourself the gift of gratitude if you're open to receiving it. That's what writing down what you're grateful for is for yourself. But don't ever give to get. Like it just doesn't work at all. This works with my realtor partners like crazy, you guys. I'm not too foo-foo, but I am. I'm kind of like a crazy hippie capitalist. Okay, that's the best way to describe me. I'm a walking contradiction. All right. So like when I'm giving this stuff to the agents, and I can't say I got this because of this, but I do find it pretty random that through my unrequired text and reach outs and telling people what I appreciate about them, that kind of leads show up over the next 7 days from those people. I do find it interesting. Okay. So it's not a tactic, but it does work because it's real. So that's just an example, super, super simple example of what that looks like. Now, after, you have like this, your non-negotiable list and you're like using it, et cetera, you have proof of identity shift versus result chasing. And your identity will change like over time because you actually have social proof of stuff that you've done all the time and that you've tracked. So you have to have the consistent commitments in order for you to even understand like where your goals really should be. And I don't think you need to make some crazy big goals. I will tell you that if you do make big goals, don't ever change what the big goal is until you hit it. I don't redo my goals anymore unless I hit it. It's just, that's the goal again. That's the goal again. That's the goal again. That's the goal again. What commitments do I need to change? Like, because I didn't get it, right? So what do I need to change? And I will tell you that that's way more powerful in failing forward than it is just making a goal and then redoing it every year with a different numbers, different income, different number of loans. That's silly measuring stick. Okay.
I think that's really important though, and that's why I love that you started off with the audit piece, because for me, I had done like 400 to 440 loans a year for 3 straight years. It was like 80 million. It was I hit my financial goal, but I didn't hit that goal that I wrote down that I was $100 million loan officer, and I didn't click until, I'll use your word, I audited the previous year and I realized what got in my way. And what got in my way was my assistant, my business partner, my wife, my business development manager, all scheduling things for me in the morning, which was my most productive time. And then me blocking my calendar in the morning and focusing on my win by noon activities. Lo and behold, I created consistency. I had those micro commitments to myself on what I would do each day. And it didn't happen overnight, but at the end of the year, in a flat year, interest rates didn't drop. We didn't get any big builder, closed 113 million, 551 loans, because I kept the goal the same, but I had to hit that ceiling of frustration, not once, not twice, 3 times. It took me longer than I wanted to, but ultimately, your conversation today was a big reminder of my personal example of success based on what you're teaching.
Yeah, man. There's so many people that are commenting in here like that 2020 destroyed their ability to set long-term goals. It's funny. I wasn't immune from that. I was like, I'm doing this every year. This was freaking fantastic. Like I want to crush this every year. But I want you to think about 2020 for a second, okay? Everyone on here, if you were a loan officer in 2020, 2021, I want you to think about how many people were you forced to talk to every single week? Think about that. I know it was coming at us, so it was easier, but how many people did you talk to every week? If you did 30 loans a month in 2020 and 2021, or whatever the number is, 5, 10, 30, 50, 100 loans a month, how many people did you have to talk to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to close all those loans? Even if it was coming at you. I just want you to think about that. Write down whatever you think your number is, right? So I'm gonna put mine in the chat because I closed 600 loans in a year, and I usually have to talk. That means I was talking to 50, and you multiply it times 10, whatever the number of loans were that you were closing a week. Okay, so that's how many contacts, emails back and forth, text messages, videos, all the things. So if I'm going to go 600, I'll go times 10. That was 6,000 conversations, contacts, video, points of contact that I had to make over that year. That's 500 a month, right? Are you doing that?
And I bet for most people, Jeremy, it was higher than that. Because I track everything in my planner, and I was secretly doing loans during that time. I did, over a little over 2 years, almost 800 loans, and the number for me was the average for that, like when it was really the go-go times, was 18 conversations for a closed transaction.
There you
And
go.
I was looking at it, and then all of a sudden it was 21, and then it was 28, and then it was 29, then it was over 30, and it was not quite as fun anymore when you were having to do more interactions. But literally, I couldn't even track one day in my planner. I didn't have enough check boxes. I didn't have enough blanks to write it all. I had to have a separate page, the next page, which is for notes to look at it. But it was fascinating how hard I worked, but how much fun I was having at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. So think about it like this. I'm just gonna give you a really basic framework, right? So a framework for this would be like daily equals behavior. Okay, the daily actions, the daily commitments equals behavior. Okay, Weekly, when you look at how the whole week went, that is the alignment part. When you look at your whole week, you can see, okay, where was I in alignment based on my behavior and my actions? Monthly, when you look at it, that's expansion. Okay, so did I expand like throughout the month by doing these things? And then annual, every year, I call it the identity audit. Annual equals identity. Like, who did I become? What did I do? Right? That is the trick for me from a framework perspective, is daily behaviors, weekly alignment, monthly expansion, annual identity. So like,
real quick, Jeremy, because I wrote down identity when you first said it a minute ago, and when I think of the best that are living their best selves, there's a few identities that they have, and one, I mean, is obviously financial. I mean, they don't want to make X amount of money, like they need to make whatever that number is, and
yeah,
it is different. People that struggle need to make whatever they're making. People that are killing it, they're among the top percent doing over 100 million. They have an identity around a need, not a want. And then they've also built these calluses around numbers, everything that you're talking about since I jumped back in the call. Like I bet you are like a drug addict without your drug if you don't do X amount of prospecting every day. Like there's just like you're gonna win by noon and you're gonna get your prospecting calls in if it's the last thing you do because you've got an identity around that. And and my guess is like it doesn't take a year to have a transformation in your identity. Like you can literally, that's why I didn't love that you called it the annual identity, because I kind of believe that, you know what? You could change your identity, not in a week, maybe not in a month, but in a quarter. Like you in a season, you could change your identity as a mortgage professional. Thoughts on
yeah.
that?
100%. I mean, it's called the 90-day reflection. So what actions are you going to create? What commitments are you going to commit to? And over 90 days, that's all it takes to shift your identity. Okay. That's really all it takes, in my opinion, to shift your identity. What we were talking about, Dave, was more of like auditing your identity to see who did you become throughout a whole year. Like
Yeah.
when you get to the end, like
So you were
what did,
almost kind of like 2025 guys, where
yeah,
are you? So that
yes,
we're level setting for 2026. And
yep,
I did. Okay, good. Now one more question that I had on my list of things I wanted to cover in this planning for 2026 is I think who you know, like if you're a loan officer and you provide a fee worksheet, here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash to close, like you're a loan officer and that's your identity. Whereas like you as a mortgage coach, that you're helping people achieve financial freedom, you're delivering advice. Like there is an identity that people shift to. That's one of the reasons why I wrote the manifesto last week, is I was doing some planning for the mortgage coach community, and you know, I'm like, man, look at America. Like the average age of a first-time home buyer went from 38 to 40. Uh, the average home buyer in America right now is 59 to 61, depending on what data point you're looking at. And we're talking about a 50-year mortgage in America. Like it's time for the industry and for loan officers to go, you know what? I'm not a loan officer. I'm a financial freedom advisor.
yep.
And that is an identity. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you have to create your own identity of what you want to be, right? That's what I want to be to people. I want to be the guy that good people deserve great advice and there's good in every person, right? That's my identity. I want to give the best advice humanly possible. I want to show people things that they haven't thought about yet, right? And by the way, you talk about a competitive advantage, making a total cost analysis and having an option that no one asked to see in there and asking them, hey, I don't know if you're open-minded to this in the video to them, but if you are thinking about saving $240,000, you know, this might be a better loan for you if you're open-minded to it. Like simple things like that. I think that we have to get better at asking or telling people, showing people things that they don't ask for. There are way more value seekers than there are price shoppers, in my opinion. They just don't know. And I saw Kit Bates said this, I think, this guy Kit, who I love. I saw him say this, is that, or it's my interpretation of it, okay, is that like people seek value, more people seek value than actually shopping for price and the best cost. But if they don't know what the value is as a consumer, they don't really know what they're looking for, but that is the preference of people is they want to seek value. So we have to provide value when it's not asked for. We have to provide that constantly, consistently, all the time, which is why I use TCAs, like for every single quote or every single option, even if it's a fixed second mortgage. So you have to know that people aren't usually understanding, especially first-time home buyers. If you guys aren't working first-time home buyers right now, it's a big portion of my transactions going on in the wintertime, seasonality, first-time home buyers, for sure. People that are established in homes already, they're getting ready for Thanksgiving and hanging up Christmas trees. Okay. But people that are first-time buyers, that is the jam right now. 6 contracts on Friday, 5 of them first-time home buyers. Okay. So 6 new purchase contracts on Friday. I got 5 of them were first-time home buyers. So those people don't understand value though yet, because it's the first time they're doing something. So you have to do little things like that, Dave, like to differentiate yourself.
So where I wanted to go with that, guys, is as you are planning for 2026, what is your identity today? Like truly, like are you a loan officer and a really good transactional loan officer that can help people close loans on times, that could give people great education around transaction? Or are you helping people achieve the American dream of homeownership with financial freedom? And I'm telling you guys, 2026 is it's transformational. Like AI can do a great mortgage transaction. Like whatever can be automated will be automated. And so as you plan for the future, one, first-time home buyers, that's going to be the most difficult type of transaction for automated mortgages to be done. For call center mortgages, that's going to be the best opportunity for someone local for decades to come. And helping those consumers achieve financial freedom through homeownership is something that, you know, the rockets of the world aren't going to focus on. They're not going to obsess on. So Jeremy, I know you and Todd are doing some type of workshop. I love, by the way, I love that it's not a planning workshop, but it's a commitment workshop. What are you and Todd doing that for RiseCo? What's the plan?
Yeah. So next Tuesday, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd. Okay. Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be hosting with Todd like a personal commitment code. How do you create your personal commitment codes? AKA, you can call them goals if you want to, but we're going to go over commitments first. And I have a whole exercise that I can walk everyone through about your future self vision first, the truth check second, the non-negotiable commitments that you need to create. And then we can build that into, these are the actions that you're just going to take daily, weekly, monthly, and then annually, so that you can make sure that it's in alignment with whatever your income goals, family's help that you want to make, et cetera. But if you don't get clear on the actions and commitments that you want to take first, and they're going to be different for every person, right? So I have 2 versions of this. One is for yourself that you create, and then one is like the cheat code, I call it, of like, or if you just did this, this also would work. And they usually work together. Like when you have your own commitment code, the things that are really important to you and I'm not talking just about work right now. Okay. Yes, it is like business focused, but it goes into yourself too. Like, what do you want to look like? How do you want to feel like? What do you want your body to look like? What do you want your mind to look like? So it's really important that we create these commitment codes, but that will be on Tuesday next week at 10 a.m. Pacific, where I will literally walk you through slide by slide presentation, provide you with the actual document that I created on creating your personal commitment code for 2026. And then we're just going to have like accountability on that once a month moving forward after that, on like, what were the commitments? What did we hit? Where did we fall short? So if anyone's interested with it, we'll have a sign up link. Please feel free to sign up, and we would love to love to have you there.
I think it'll be fun, right? Our first official RiseCo webinar to kick off 2026 at the end of 2025.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
guys, so there's a link right now in Zoom. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll always be that housing link down below. And then all the links that are mentioned today, the one that Jeremy just did will be at the very top. I just can't recommend guys attending this event enough. I mean, what I've noticed the difference between the best and the rest isn't that they plan, because I know a lot of very struggling mortgage professionals that have strategic plans. They've got one-page plans, they've got life plans. It all comes down to your code. And so I love, Jeremy, that you played off of the Savage Code in the book I'm writing. You
Yep.
probably came up with that completely independent of that, but anything that has a code in it, I'm down. But I would say the difference between Jeremy and loan officers that are not achieving that kind of success, it's his commitment, and to have a process to design your code, to develop your code. I assume, Jeremy, in this workshop that you and Todd do, you'll cover kind of like the basics of strategic planning and
Yeah.
how to win the day, how to win the week. I know with Todd Bookspan in the room, there'll be a how to win by noon plan.
Yep.
Anything else that you guys are going to cover?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna go through like the roadmap of what non-negotiables are for you as a loan officer, period, outside of the commitments that you make to yourself, that will show you that if you do X items over the next 90 days, it will produce X results. But it's up to you to obviously execute them. So yes, we will go over all of that stuff. And one thing you said, Dave, that's really important, is that when you're planning for next year, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm not poo-pooing on a goal number. Like you want to make X amount of dollars. That's just not enough. Okay. It's not enough to get you there. You can't just manifest it and just think that you want to do X amount of dollars. It really takes the action. And you weren't on the portion of the call, Dave, that I went through this, but doing an audit is the most underrated thing that all salespeople miss. They don't audit what happened this year. They don't audit. I lost $40+ million of transactions this year when I did my audit a couple weeks ago. Like, it's important to know like where you are and what didn't work or what circumstances happened so that you can plan appropriately moving forward.
One metric I want everyone to have and know by the time you show up is, what is your conversion? How many credit
Yep.
reports did you run divided by closed loans? Like, there's no like what if, or my lead source is how many times you run a credit report. Because if you ran a credit report, you got someone's social security number. So
Yep.
and then how many did you fund? Now, by the way, if as Jeremy would say, if you really want to be pro, you're going to know how many leads you got. Like, how many people did I talk to? How many credit reports? How many funded loans? Like, if you really want to go pro, uh, I know Jeremy will have those numbers. I want to push people when you show up for Jeremy and Todd's workshop. By the way, you should already have those numbers. I would also, for extra credit, push you to know concessions. Like, what is my cost in terms of price concessions? Like, how many basis points am I giving up in concessions? And I want you to think of it this way, everybody. That is your value selling score. Because if you have low concessions, that means you are really seen as highly valuable. Of course, there are exceptions to that. Some people are like, hey, I price high knowing I'm going to have a concession. But if you have a lot of concessions, you're either not, like, it doesn't look good for your sales skills, or two, you're just not pricing well. Because every time you get into that concession conversation, that's what we call unconstructive tension. Like, there's constructive tension and then there's unconstructive tension. Navigating a price concession it's unconstructive. Like, you're risking the deal, you're risking the 5-star review, that's not a fun conversation for the consumer or you. Um, Jeremy and Todd, anything else you want people to prep for coming into that commitment workshop next week?
No.
I think the one thing I would add in there, you said lead to app to close. I would throw lead to app to pre-approved to close. One of the things that I've always noticed from the coaching chair is that a lot of loan officers are super excited to get the application, but don't always have the fortitude to follow up with a client, because we just assume that someone took the time to fill out our online application, or they took the time to give us the information over the phone, and that they're actually going to send us all the documentation. And when I had clients focus on the conversion from app to pre-qual, guess what? closings shot up. So that was a missing conversion rate. So I would definitely throw that one in there. What else do you think, Jeremy, would be good for people to come prepared with other than open mind?
Yeah. Well, if you have this data, I would come with this. How many leads did you receive in 2025? Okay. Year to date, how many leads did you receive in 2025? From that, I would do what you guys already covered. I would say, how many of those people did I pre-approve or qualify? So that way you can, it doesn't matter if it's a refi or a purchase, right? Like pre-approved means you can help them, right? Potentially. How many people did you qualify? And then from there, I'd say, how many did you close compared to how many you qualified? And I have found this to be true almost every single year, except for those unicorn years where it was way higher. But like it goes like this for me. 50% of the people I talk to, I can help. They filled out the app. I ran the credit. They were qualified for something or another, et cetera, et cetera. I find that I close 50% of those people. So it's about a 25% closing ratio. Anywhere between 11 and 25%, okay, is typically how it works. Now, I just thought of this actually. What is 40 million divided by 87 million? Interesting. 40 million. Let's just do 40 divided by 87. 40 divided by 87. Huh.
Someone says
45.9%. So that means I closed 55%, losing all those transactions I told you. That's what I just did. I'm like, shit, man, I lost $40 million of transactions. Well, divide it by what I closed year to date. Oh, how ironic. It's 50%. Like it literally works every single time. So when you look at these numbers, it's kind of wild. And so bring your numbers, know how many leads you got, know what your pre-approvals is and what your closings are year to date. So you know where you have an issue. It means you either have a lead generation issue, a lead quality issue, or you have a sales conversation issue. Those are the only three problems always. Okay, lead gen issue, lead conversion issue, or a sales like conversation issue, lead quality issue, or a sales conversation issue.
And a couple more things. Know what your production is. Like I know I almost shouldn't have to say that. By the way, know what your database size is. And I'm not talking just past customers. How many actionable people do you have in an actionable database? Like if you have MortgageCoach and you have MortgageCoach Next Gen, like how many people are you predicting like they're ready to move up, they're ready to refi? Know your database size, know your current production. And by the way, if you don't know any of this stuff, still show up because it's all about going through a process to gain a new level of commitment to the things that matter most so you can have a transformational year. Like literally, I believe that every mortgage professional, and I don't care if you're on this call and you're doing $100 million, you could like your job more, you could do more volume, and there is another level for everyone. So guys, we got 7 minutes. Todd, any thing you want to make sure gets covered in the last 7 minutes? And then I'm going to put Jeremy on the spot. And in the last minute or two of today's call, we're going to get a script out of him. So stay tuned for that, guys. Todd?
There was some great uncommon LO content that Jeremy gave us earlier. I would just, if you're struggling on where do I get this information, it's all in your loan originating system. So just go in there, and if you can't do it, ask someone, your manager or someone to run you a report. You can see all of these things, so you should be able to get all of that. And I think that there's a huge opportunity in 2026, right? I feel like you are ready for it. You are showing up on these calls, whether you're watching this live or the recording. You feel like maybe you had an okay year. Maybe you feel that you had a beat up year, and then hopefully you had an amazing year like Jeremy's having. I know that those who invest the time next week with us are going to come out with the plan of attack. So that way, as we roll through the rest of the year, through December and into January, you've got that word that we all want that Jeremy mentioned before, which is momentum.
All right, Jeremy,
100%.
here's the script. So you said you took 6 apps last week, 5 were first-time home buyers.
Oh, those weren't apps.
I even
Those were contracts, Dave.
Yeah.
contracts. Okay, 5 first-time home buyers went into contracts. And I
Yep.
have to imagine there are some first-time home buyers that are like, should I buy now? Should I wait? There's some level of confusion they have whether now is the time. So I want to hear the scripting and the talk track. Pretend that I'm one of those first-time home buyers that's like, I don't know, bro. Like maybe I should just wait till spring. Maybe I should wait till January. How do we?
Okay.
How does J Dog talk to people like that?
All right. So I'm gonna answer this two ways because one is like I actually find that that's not the conversation right now. Within
Well,
in this,
by the way, better yet, because Uncommon Ellows, what is the conversation? And give us a little bit of your perspective on the conversation.
people that are buying right now want to buy. These are new contracts, right? So there are two different one is a conversation of a lead, someone getting pre-approved, which I agree that comes up all the time. The 6 contracts I got, 5 first-time home buyers, no, they are fired up. Like they're like, I'm buying, this is the time, it's the end of the year. Things are slower, it's easier to get into contract. These are all true statements. Easier to get into contract, easier to negotiate concessions, easier to do all the things. So I think that people that are making offers right now, no, this is the easiest time to like fill up a quick little bit of pipeline with first-time home buyers because they are actively looking and they want to execute. They want to get out of that rental and they want to have their own house. Other ironic thing, Dave, is that the age thing we talk about, the average age is 40 plus now for a first-time home buyer. 3 of these first-time home buyers I'm doing are under 30, which is wild to me. Like, and that's not normal, honestly, for me. Like, not now, not this year, but 3 of them are under 30 years old, right? Buying their first house and getting after it. So, 2 different conversations. One is, let's talk about the lead and pre-approval. Okay. Hey, this is great. So I talked to Susan a couple days ago. This is a brand new pre-approval, got pre-approved yesterday. And she's like, I just want my payments to be through $3,200 a month, right? Okay, great. Well, you're looking at about, a $500,000 purchase price, but I need to be at 650. Well, you're pre-approved to 650, but your payments, there's no way to get them to $3,200 a month. I don't want to buy a house unless I can get them to $3,200 a month. Okay, well then you're at 500,000. That's more of a common question. And then what you have to ask them is that, so what are you afraid of with the payment being 4,500 versus 3,200? Right? You just have to ask them, what are you afraid of? Because you are qualified. Like you are legit qualified for this payment. And then you get them talking about it, and then you find out what they're really afraid of, and then you get them to make the decision on where do they actually want to land, right? So here's my script tour was this, is that, listen, I don't think that you should buy anything that you don't feel comfortable with. I really don't. The good news is you don't have to do anything. You can keep renting if you want. I will point out, though, that just by purchasing this home, which you can very much so afford from a income standpoint, um, that most homeowners right now, there was just a study that was done, have 10x the net worth that renters do. That means that their net worth, their wealth accumulation is 10 times higher than people that rent. So what's more important to you, like saving the $1,200 a month in monthly payments and just continuing to rent, or building wealth that's 10x more than your peers that continue to rent? That is the script. You get them to
So,
think differently.
so first of all, incredible script. The data on that is that it's not 10x more. It truly is 40x. The average, and we've got lots of data on this at First Home IQ. Average net worth of a renter in America is
10 grand,
10,000,
right?
10 grand.
Yep.
And the average net worth of a homeowner in America right now in 2025 is 420.
400 grand. Yeah.
So it's 40x, guys. So first of all, still killer script, because here's the deal. There's something called verisimilitude. It sounds believable. And to actually understate a number and go 10x is more believable than 40x. Like 40x is almost like, come on, like, is that
I
even
agree. That's why I
believable?
say 10x, by the way. Like, because when I say 40, I'm like, Jesus. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's uncomprehendable.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. But by the way, guys, the power phrase there is to first you don't have to do anything. It's all good, and you can feel like even though he said it, like the stress came down, and then like, hey, what are you afraid of? What is really the concern? And you could tell he asked that from a place of curiosity and humility, and he had a conversation with them. So, guys, we hopefully you got a lot of value from today's call. Use those little reactions at the bottom. I can't wait to be part of. I will not be a leader. I will be a panelist like all you guys. But I every time I'm with Jeremy and Todd, I become a better human being and a more effective business person. So I will be there as a student. Uh, Link is down below. Get signed up. And JForce, so grateful for you, bro. Todd,
Grateful for
grateful
you
for you
guys.
too. And everybody who's part of this community, thank you for tuning in. I've had a lot of really nice personal notes from folks. Thank you for all the personal notes. Also, for anyone who's not a mortgage coach, like you're on this call and you're not a mortgage coach, guys, there's a discount, Savage 15. Go online right now, get 15% off, Savage 15. Let's go. Take care, everybody. This is a wrap.
Later, y'all.